Test 1 2 1 2. There he is. Happy New Year, Douglas.
Howdy, sir. How are you?
Doing just fine. Doing just fine. Things are going better than I expected this morning, so I'm happy to jump on in here.
Good. You're back in your recording closet in your studio, I see.
Yeah, I know you talked about possibly making this a video podcast, and I can definitely see why. It's sexy in here. You're
It's
really
great.
these moving blankets that are stamped property of U-Haul. And not allowed to keep these, but breaking the law, like they say.
What do they say? A peek behind the curtain, right? A peek behind the packing blanket.
That's right. That is yeah, the wizard is in full effect.
Yeah.
How are you doing? You've had a big major surgery, but you're upright. You look bright-eyed.
I'm bright-eyed and bushy cast on my left leg tailed.
That sounds
So
kinky, but all right.
that's
How's
kinky.
that yeah, you got your cast on this morning. What color do you go for?
I went for boring old black.
Boring old
Isn't that
black.
funny? Yeah.
I mean, it kind of is until you get out there for your first show and start soaking in the heat.
I said it's so ironic because Renee and I are all about color. Colored glass, brighter the better, and I went for the absence of color.
Is it the absence or is it the presence of all? What do they say? Isn't black the presence of all
Oh,
colors?
well, I haven't heard that, but I love it. Okay, I've got the presence of all on my leg.
Yeah, you got the presence of all colors. All right. Very good.
I don't remember it being this easy. This is going to be the most fantastic recovery ever. Well, the nerve block wears off the next day, and I was like, ah.
Yeah.
Well, I found out that there's this kind of interesting little correlation between memory and pain. You
Yeah,
know,
I
any of
do.
us
Yeah.
who any of us who've been in like in the birthing room with our wives or girlfriends giving birth will know they have that look on their face that says, "Oh my God, I I forgot
That's
this is happening to me again." Well, that's kind of
exactly
what
what
happened
this is why
here.
people have second, third, fourth, whatever children, multiple
Yeah,
kids. It's because of that pain memory response. So yeah,
yeah,
and then you start to you got your leg baby and leg baby
yep.
the leg baby's starting to push and pull. That's not good. It does make sense as far as what I've understood about childbirth, and I've never obviously I've been kicked in the nuts before, but that's about as hard as it gets. But
Which
it's
doesn't compare to childbirth, so I'm told.
so you're told, so you're told. But I don't want either to happen anymore. So let's move
Right.
on. I didn't even open up the folder until basically the pieces are due. And I'm looking at
Okay.
these references, and I've already been kinda coaxing her along going, "Oh, yeah, things are coming along great. It is
Yes.
I'm crushing this. It's gonna be awesome." Meanwhile,
Yes.
I'm putting it back and back and back. It's due for Christmas. But she had all of these elements of things. This is what we loved about I'm like, "It's just a sketch of the house." And I'm looking, I'm like,
Mhm.
"Did I really just paint a blue toilet in this?" Like, seriously, I painted a blue
Sure.
toilet just right there
Okay.
in the front of the all these little things, like each person got a thing that they loved. Like one person loved the blue bathroom, so there you go. Merry
You get the
Christmas, you get a blue shitter.
okay. Okay.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
But what I'm trying to get to the heart of it is I think to myself, it is for me about this perfectionism. And I've always hated it when people say, "Oh, I'm a perfectionist," because in that statement alone, it makes it sound like, well, oh, I only aspire to do really great things. And being a perfectionist, in my mind, or my definition, isn't about everything you only want to do greatness. It's that you feel like everything you do is shit. You know what I'm saying? And then that
Mhm.
is the thing that is so hard to overcome.
Every different kind of anxiety that you want to talk about, I've got them. I've got the imposter syndrome. I've got inferiority. I mean, it just is all. I mean, we all kind of deal with our own things, and I think anybody who says different is either lying or just an asshole. I know there are those of us out there who are super confident in their work, and I'm jealous of those guys, but I think we all hit our demons. I think, the photographers out there, I've talked to a bunch of friends of mine. I've got a bunch of friends that are photographers that, they deal with the way other artists look at them, and where they're
Oh.
like, oh, it's just they think I just push a button and take a picture, and they don't think about the reams and reams and reams of photos that I have to take before I get one that I actually like. Whereas jewelers, their booths are, you can't just walk past a jeweler's booth and glance at it and know what they're all about. I mean, you can look
Mhm.
in my booth, you can cut your eyes in my booth or yours and tell pretty much what we're all about. But in order to
Mhm.
see a jeweler's booth, you have to go. And so typically a jeweler's booth has more people in it, and it's a lot more of a different kind of engagement. So the grass is always
Mm.
greener, and
That's interesting, that perfectionism translating into what people think of us
yes.
and other artists and our peers. It's interesting because I do and have over the years maybe had a different perception of what I thought people thought. Like I would think, oh, they think, let's say something negative that is haunting me and in my head. And then somebody will come up and say something that is kind of positive and uplifting, and it feels good. And I think I kind of I guess I misread that. I thought that, this is the perception of me and my work, and it always makes me come back to the idea that we're so worried about what people think about us or of our work or what we do, when the reality is they probably think very little about it. I don't mean little in terms of status, but in, like, the amount of time they actually think about it. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
how much
saying?
space it occupies in their head is pretty small.
Exactly. We build it up in our heads so much more than maybe what's real or actual.
Right, exactly. He literally says, "What do you do to stay up and positive at a show countered
Mhm.
by pitfalls?" I love Jay. I mean, he's one of my favorite humans, but,
How do I
it's
stay
just
positive? I talked to Jay McDougall. He
hell yeah.
usually,
Oh,
cheers
that's
me up.
that's that's a pitfall right there, my
Oh,
friend. You
that's
gotta
a
stay
pitfall.
away from that guy. Better wait till he's got his salmon colored pants on. That's how he stays away. That's his kryptonite. "Hey, man, when you're feeling really bummed out, just visualize Paul Lynde." And I was putting my boxes back together, and, and again, I apologize for repeating stories, but I've only got so many of them, and we're in year what, 3, 4 of this shit? I can't, how long have we been doing this?
I
But
think
it's,
we're starting number 4.
starting
Starting
all right.
4.
So yeah, I'm repeating my stories, but man, you cannot
Yeah.
if you know who Paul Lynde is, you can't get pissed off. Like, it's just you can't be mad if you're thinking about Paul Lynde, and I remember putting my boxes together and chuckling
Oh,
about it. It's like, find your Paul Lynde, the
yep.
inner got just most ridiculous thing that still makes you in a good mood, and try to do that.